Question number 2, the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Social Development. What factors will she take into account when making decisions about expanding funding for community programs?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr Speaker, a number, but 2 would include giving young people a foothold into work and ensuring value for taxpayers' money.
The
Parliamentary question, Mr Speaker. Does she believe taxpayers would support extending funding for Community Max when they read of a program that costs more than $175,000 to employ 12 people for 6 months to produce a Maori business directory, which was launched in January last year and canned 5 months later because there were already better Maori business directories available online?
Mr Speaker, yes, if a large number of those people who attended the course subsequently did not require the assistance of a benefit.
Before I call the Honourable Annette King, just before I call the Honourable Member, just for the clarification of the House, is the member, there's the Minister answering as the Minister or on behalf of...
Mr Speaker, I am the Acting Minister of Social Development.
Okay, I appreciate that. The Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. When he said in Parliament in response to a question earlier in the week that Community Max programs were value for money, unlike, quote, hip-hop tours going around the world for $26,000, end quote, was he aware that the same amount of money was being spent on hip-hop training in Christchurch? And if so, have the 16 people who finished the course and are not on a benefit got a job?
The Honourable Simon.
Mr Speaker, the member is labouring under some misapprehensions about how those 2 schemes compare. So let's take a bit of time to clarify. Let's clear that up. Firstly, 2 people teaching hip-hop in a classroom as an alternative to sport does not compare to $26,000 on a hip-hop tour for a mother and daughter going to New York, LA, Paris, Hawaii and Fiji. Secondly, there was no chill-out time built into this program as there was under that program when the 2 participants stopped off in Fiji for a holiday. And finally, and most importantly, of the 19 participants in this program, 18 are no longer on benefits.
Honourable Annette King. Order. 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 I've called the Honourable Annette King.
If the government is interested in value for money, when will he stop funding boot camps, the brainchild of the Prime Minister, which after less than 1 year in operation have had a 50% reoffending rate by those who completed the course and is estimated to reach 65 to 70% reoffending after 2 years, a program that is costing $36,000 for every person on it?
Speaker, no funding will continue for those camps, and the reason is once the 2 trials that the member refers to were completed, the one full course which has undergone some tweaks since those trials has seen only 2 people reoffend since that part of the course was completed.
The Honourable Annette King.
Last week. Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Why did she allow Work and Income to enter into a funding arrangement of nearly $40,000 with a charity in Christchurch when she was advised that the principal of that charity was an overstayer in this country? And isn't this just another example of the shambles the government's programs are in, even though the Minister tries to pretend they're working?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr Speaker, in respect of that, the second half of that question, they are working. 70%, approximately 70% of those who are attending these courses are no longer on a benefit. In respect of the first part, not necessarily. On the respect of the first part of the question, I'm sorry, I don't have that detail to hand.
I beg your pardon, Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. Is it correct that the 70% figure that she and the Prime Minister continues to use actually represents the number of graduates that WINS cannot account for, as stated by Peter Hughes, and that after spending more than $50 million on this scheme, she actually has no idea what impact it has had?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, that's a very cynical slant to put on the information that's been made available to date. The fact is that approximately 70% of these people who have completed these courses no longer get a benefit. I think that's a good news story, and I don't know why that side want those people back on a benefit.
Jacinda Ardern.
Supplementary to the Minister. Does she acknowledge that her department can only claim to have placed 936 community max graduates into work, and this represents just 1% of young Kiwis who are not in work, education or training?
Mr. Speaker, I can't comment on the raw number the member uses, but I can give some percentages, and that is that as at November 2010, of those who had contacted the Ministry, which they're not required to do, 28.7% were in work, part-time or full-time, 10% were in training or education. There is a large number who have not contacted the Ministry, but what we do know is they're not on a benefit.
The Honourable Annette King.
Could the Minister tell the House how many of the 40,000 young people between the age of 15 and 19 who are currently unemployed would actually qualify for a benefit?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, no.
No, exactly.
Question number 3, Todd McLeay. Oh, beg your pardon.
Mr. Speaker.
Is...
On behalf of Todd McLeay.
Okay, Katrina Shanks on behalf of Todd McLeay.